Okay, so I'm just going to introduce this next section for a second. Then I think we've got a 5-minute video clip, David, if that's right. And then we've got this wonderful lady here to my right, Pam Moorhouse, who has launched something called Pam's County Petition. And we've set up an organisation called the British Counties Campaign to help Pam with her petition. This is a change of pace from the previous speaker. This is some soft culture and heritage, but we believe that it's extremely important. Just a couple of housekeeping points first. If anybody's wondering what these are my COVID jabs that I had earlier in the week. I had one here and had one there. So that's just a little bit of law enforcement when I was a bit outnumbered earlier in the week. So I apologise for that. And secondly, the second point, what county are we in today? Any offers, please? Now we've got the slight difference. We've got Sussex and we've got West Sussex. This exemplifies one of the points of the campaign. We've got lots of different types of counties in this country. David, who's very kindly allowed us to speak today, made a very important point when he said, sometimes it's not about what you don't stand for, it's about what you do stand for. Okay, and now we've got 3 specific aims about what we stand for with the British Counties campaign. The first aim is to just have one simple type of county. So there's the traditional county of Sussex, but there's also the admin county of West Sussex and East Sussex that were created in 1974. That sometimes, especially in other parts of the country, can start to create a real confusion. So we want just one type of county, clearly defined. We want the traditional counties to be used for ceremonial purposes. So if it's an official opening of a school or hospital, so on and so forth, let's use the traditional counties for locations, for geographic reference points in those contexts. And then we want to start to sort of clear up confusing name clashes where you get, for example, I mean, somebody mentioned, the previous gentleman I think mentioned Berkshire, Buckinghamshire and Oxfordshire, but then you've got parts of Berkshire that are run by Oxfordshire County Council, parts of Yorkshire that is run by Lancashire. That creates a specific, very, very specific sort of enmity sometimes, or just a sort of resentment sometimes in local communities. It's a simple thing, but we can try to avoid that. I'm Lancashire, she's Yorkshire, by the way, so she knows best. Okay, so that's it. Those are our aims. Now we've got this short video clip. Then we've got Pam talking, and if anybody's got a question for Pam at the end, then feel free to stick your paw up and ask away. So I'll step down, and now we'll have the video. I take it. Thank you.
The counties are part of our history, our identity, our culture, so they're very important. Every person in England should know about the history of our country where we live.
In 1974, the Local Government Act came into effect, and essentially that destroyed in many parts of our country the historic identity of our counties.
The historic counties were swept away. In 1974, there were changes writ large, and it just completely altered the map of England.
Wales and Scotland are totally confused. They got rid of all the Welsh counties and made new ones, Powys and all the others. Scotland was also changed. Not a single person wanted any changes, so they made us. The change was forced on people. They destroyed the counties by forcing everybody to have the new names.
What you've also got to factor in is a lot of resentment that from the original times that these changes were brought in from 1974, and a lot of people still harbour that resentment. It's a problem that's not going to go away.
Well, I've always been in favour of restoring the old county boundaries. It seemed to me a pernicious and pointless move, which the country was never consulted on. I think there's very few people who justify their change. As an historian, my chief objection is that it's once again eroding our connections with the historical past.
People used to define themselves by where they grew up or lived, but with the arrival of giant bureaucratic authorities, they became defined by who provided local services. Nonsense names sprouted up.
Cumbria has not always existed. It was created against the people's will in 1974 and forced on the people all over the country, same as all the other changes. Researching what happened in the past is very important so that it can't happen again. Parliament can no longer bully ordinary people and make them give up history. They should have road signs telling people which county they're actually in, just as everybody knew before 1974 and took for granted. Today it's becoming unknown because Edward Heath's government forcibly removed all the signs and told us we had to use only the new counties from then on. I don't think the changes in 1974 were admin only because they sent bullies all over the country to force everybody to comply. For my petition, I want 2 million names on it so that Parliament has to debate the subject. Otherwise, you just forget about it and we lose important and valuable history and culture forever, which is totally pointless. It's like building on Hadrian's Wall and then pretending there's never been a wall there. And young people in the future would believe that as well. I want the British Counties campaign to achieve a bill through Parliament preserving the ancient counties forever so that everybody knows about them. Otherwise we're going to lose them forever, and what's the point of that?
I'm backing the British Counties campaign because it is so important to defend our historic counties' history. The British Counties campaign is so important to make sure that we revert to those historic counties that have served our country for so many centuries so well.
It's important that we re-establish Lincolnshire as a county. Traditionally, Grimsby, Cleethorpes and Immingham were part of Lincolnshire and do look south towards the county of Lincolnshire. And we do want to make sure that those historic links that people feel so strongly about locally, we want to make sure that those links are maintained and strengthened.
Where I live, a borough called Tameside, in a metropolitan county called Greater Manchester, isn't who I am. Who I am is a proud Lancastrian. My home community, where I've always lived, has proud Lancashire associations.
Lots of people love their old county names, but they've just got mangled beyond all recognition. So we just need a bill that stabilises the position and gives people back the counties.
There are currently around 20 known organisations seeking to restore or revive the traditional British counties. There may be more. There is also a specific group of MPs set up to look into saving the counties.
The 29 supporting MPs so far, we want to create enough support to get a bill through Parliament to preserve all these ancient counties for everybody, forever.
County campaign unity is essential to restore Britain's traditional names and ensure confusion never returns. Organisations seeking to save Britain's traditional counties or lobby for county-related powers are told to join forces.
To get recognition of the traditional counties, you need massive education for everybody. All school children should know all this, and it should be out in tourist information, in museums, which at the moment it certainly isn't. I'm angry about what happened to the counties because it was forced on us. Certain laws are pushed through and you accept them and like it, or you get punished for not obeying, which is dreadfully unfair when we're a democratic country. We choose our leaders, our MPs, our councillors, so we should have a say, complete say, in what they actually do.
I mean, we are lobbying like crazy to get this through, because what's equally important is that we must push this through sooner rather than later.
What we're asking for in the first place is simply to restore the original county boundaries, and I think very few people would oppose it, but what we've got to do is make sure that they actually support it. We should try every measure possible.
Your county is your identity. It's who you are, it's where you live, it's the history that cannot be broken of your local community.
So I would encourage people to get involved and also to contact their local Member of Parliament, wherever they are in the United Kingdom, to make sure that their strength of feeling about defending our traditional counties is heard at the highest level.
My final message to everybody who loves our traditional counties is go online and sign our petition and tell your MP and get them to support as well. Otherwise we're going to lose them forever, and who would gain by that? Nobody. It will be a very great loss, which will be tragic for future generations. If you want Lincolnshire, you have to go out to Halton-le-Clay and on to Louth. It's absolutely stupid and confusing to visitors who don't know where they are anymore. It's mad. So today it's North East Links and like it. The counties were changed by the newly set up councils all over the country, only using the 1974 created county names and ignoring all objections which everybody joined, and no reference to any previous counties, as they wanted rid of them, despite existing since ancient Britain times. Today you only hear of the post-1974 counties, even in past references, which seems mad to me, especially when historians get so excited at anything new about ancient people, yet here is information deliberately hidden. Why, when history has nothing to do with politics? So because of this situation, most people today have never heard of such as the Yorkshire Ridings, or Roxburghshire and Peebles in Scotland, or Berwickshire, the barley field, also in Scotland. The sign says, "Welcome to the Borders," historically meaningless. Even the lady in Eyemouth Museum in Berwickshire says in Eyemouth Museum says everybody has to tell her its borders. She has to stress the name Borders, and in our local council in Grimsby refused to put up signs saying that we've been part of Lincolnshire since Roman times, till forced into Humberside in 1974. And later, because of the hatred of the new county, North East Lincolnshire, suggested by the local council and introduced by our then MP Austin Mitchell in about 1996. Of course we all wanted Lincolnshire back, but Lincs Council couldn't accommodate us as they'd be too big. So today, like all the other councils, they want people to think that we've always been North East Links, so people will be happy with what they've got and wouldn't want to go back. As this is so unfair, destroying important history forever, can you please sign our petition so that everybody knows the old names, once known by everybody, even if they prefer to use the names that they are used to? They showed a programme on TV about all the Roman roads and places, southern Vexes, the Isle of Wight, etc., and no one objects. Why would they? People go in museums to learn about the past, but only new counties are used, as if we've always had them. Why? As people love history. So if we get enough people signing the petition, the subject has to be debated in Parliament. So surely that is fair to everyone. And anyway, nowadays they go on about mental health and warning young people if they get into a coercive situation so they can avoid it. But yet they coerce us deliberately, forcibly, into new counties, completely against the whole country's democratic wishes. So please support. Thank you very much.
Yeah, well done.